All
So
right.
thank you, Aleesha. Looking forward to what you have to share today. Go ahead.
Thank you so much. So thank you everyone for coming to our low carb course. I just thought I would start off around what low carb and what keto, which is a branch of low carb, is. And today, whilst I'm talking about that, I'm going to make some low carb wraps that are a creation of my own that I've fiddled with some ingredients to get a really nice wrap. And I'm going to be making chicken wraps for dinner tonight, so using those. And then I'm also going to use a confit garlic aioli recipe. So it is the aioli recipe from Cookie Dough, but I have tailored it a bit, and I think I made it even better than what it already is. And so those are the two recipes that I'm going to be doing today. So first I'll start off by putting some of these ingredients in, and once it's doing its thing, we'll have a chat about what low carb and what keto actually are. If you've got any questions straight off the bat, please put them in the chat box, and then I can answer them throughout the next 45 minutes around anything keto or low carb. And then because we're going to be doing this class all week long, if there isn't anything that I specifically know, I will find out, and we'll get back to you on one of the other sessions throughout the week. Actually, before I start myself, so the reason why I know so much about low carb is that I've struggled with weight my whole life. I'm not exactly a slender lady, but I actually, after I had my son, who's now 5 years old, I got up to a whopping 170 kilos, which is what, like 2 or 3 people's size. I was massive, and diabetes was knocking on my door. It was really, really bad. So I put myself forward for bariatric surgery. So I have had a gastric sleeve, but before you can get anything like that, especially if it's being publicly funded, you do have to lose weight yourself. And I have tried Weight Watchers, Jenny Craig, all, the low fat diets, everything. And I've been big since I was probably about 8 years old, unfortunately. And so then I'd heard about keto and low carb, and I was like, well, okay, let's give this a go. And so before my operation, I actually lost 38 kilos doing keto. And I got down to, what did I get down to? So at my surgery, I was 128 kilos, and I got down to 98. I have since had another baby, and so he's 5 months old, and I had got up after I'd had him to 112 kilos, but I'm doing low carb and keto again. So we just started doing it when lockdown started, and I've lost nearly 5 kilos already. So I am back down to 106.8 as of this morning. And I'd like to get back down to my 95 to 98. I am 6 foot tall, so my weight is a little bit higher, but yeah, so let's talk, make these recipes, and we'll go from there. So first I'm going to start by doing the low carb wraps. Now, as I said before, it is one of my own recipes, so it isn't on Cookie Dough, but what I am going to do is I'm going to put it on the recipe community tonight, and then I can share that or tomorrow in the chat, but also Michelle can put the recipe up on the notes that you'll get at the end of the week. So let's get started. So I have 130 grams of mozzarella. I'm going to pop that in. And then 30 grams of cream cheese. Now, this is based off of a dough that they call the fathead dough. I don't know why it's called that, but there's rolls and buns and all sorts of things that get made out of this type of dough now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mix this at speed 5. Oh, sorry. I'm getting ahead of myself, aren't I? For 5 seconds at speed 5. And what's that's just going to do is going to mix up both lots of cheese and incorporate that cream cheese into the mozzarella. So just easy. Right, so now what we're going to do is I am going to melt this. So I'm going to put this on for 3.5 minutes. 3.5 minutes at 90 degrees, at speed 3.5. So what that's going to do is it's going to mix all up, and it's going to melt it down. So when you're talking about low carb, what low carb is a diet that consists of a daily input of 100 grams of carbohydrates or less. Now, there are two different ways that people count their carbs. They can count the total amount of carbohydrates, which includes fiber, or they can count net carbs. So myself and my husband, who's also doing keto at the moment, we count net carbs. So what that is you take your total carbohydrates and you take the fiber away from it, because fiber, when you're eating food, is insoluble and it doesn't, your body doesn't assimilate it, so it creates no, they call it like a caloric uptake, which means it goes straight through you pretty much. So for low carb, that's put between 50 grams and 100 grams. Sometimes people even push it to 150 grams of carbohydrates per day. That's still the lower end. For anyone having a medium Big Mac combo from McDonald's, can anyone guess how many carbs is in that one meal that people might have? I'll let you
Okay.
give it a guess.
Yeah, let's wait for I'd love to see what the comments are. So the question Aleesha's asking is, how many carbs do you think a Big Mac
combo, so chips, medium chips, and a drink, say Coke, would be for one meal? So that's the low carb, between the 50 and the 100, pushing it at 150 grams per day. And then keto is an even lower version of that, so anything under 50 grams a day. Now between 50 and 20 grams, that's your like higher end keto. So my husband and I try and get between 30 to 35 grams of carbohydrates per day, and the real what would you say, strong people do 20 grams of carbs per day for keto. And so what keto is short for is putting your body into ketosis. So majority of people, when they are going into like using keto, is it's a state in your body called ketosis. And most people, I should say, when you're eating carbohydrates and your diet consists mostly of carbohydrates, your body burns sugar as your main fuel. So when you limit the amount of sugar that you're putting into your body, and sugar is a carb, you then your liver starts producing ketones, which then your body burns fat instead of sugar. And that's a state of ketosis. Now, some people get a bit up in arms about the whole ketosis thing because they get confused with something called ketoacidosis. So ketoacidosis is people who are usually type 1 diabetic, when their ketones go way off the chart, and what happens is their body starts eating its muscles and stuff. So it's completely different. Ketosis, you'll get between, they call it between anything from 0.5 to about 3 milligrams of ketones per I think it's 2 mils of blood, whereas ketoacidosis is like in the 20s or 30s, and no one will get to get that far without having diabetes, so don't need to worry there. So I'll go back to my recipe. I have melted my lovely cheese. Now what I'm going to do is just grab my spatula and push this all down, and I'm just going to leave it for a minute just to let it cool down a little bit, because the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put egg in it, and the last thing I want to do is curdle or start cooking the egg with the hot cheese. Michelle, do we have any questions at all? Has anyone guessed how many?
We had a few guesses. We've had 100 carbs.
Yep.
90, and someone else is saying 120.
Yeah.
I'm going to say, I don't know. What's like a normal? I suppose you need to know what's normal, and then.
So, do you want me to tell you?
Tell us. Yeah.
So there's 160 grams of carbohydrates in a Big Mac medium combo, which means if you were doing keto, that would be probably about 6 days worth of carbs for you. So yeah, I unfortunately can't eat Big Macs anymore. Not that I can anyway, with how little my tummy is, but yeah, there's a lot of carbs, and that used to be I'd have one of those at lunchtime, and you'd still have breakfast and morning tea and afternoon tea and dinner still. So yeah, there's a lot of and there's a lot of hidden carbs in foods that you would never even think of, like them being like and your sauces like tomato sauce and stuff, added sugars and carbohydrates, and those even thickening agents as well. So they use corn flour and the like to thicken foods. They all have carbohydrates in them, so it's quite yeah, it's in everything.
If you are wanting to keep a check on your carb count, and you know, but we're not saying this workshop is because everyone's following a low carb diet. We're just sharing, and Aleesha's very kindly been very honest, and people have said thank you so much for your honesty, Aleesha, and sharing about your journey. Very inspiring. But when we're looking at low carb and starting off, being a little bit more maybe mindful of the amount of carbs we're consuming, what is the best place to start? I guess it's to start with recipes that, and that's where Cookie Do would be quite helpful, because they've got the recipes that tell you what the carb content is of that meal.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes, so I love the fact that when I go into Cookie Do, even though, so there are collections on Cookie Do for keto and for low carb. There has been one, I think it came out last year, a low carb Australian collection. But the really cool thing is that there's heaps of recipes on Cookie Do that have a lower carb count. And so once I do the aioli, I can show you, you go into the nutritional details at the end of the recipe, and it will tell you the total amount of carbs that are written in. The only thing that I wish that it would be great is to add the fiber as well for people who are being who are counting net carbs. But yes, the carb count is great, because they're recipes like the chunky bolognese, if anyone's made that, that's a really low carb recipe. It doesn't call for extra sugar, and that's not in any low carb collection, but the only reason I know that it is because of that nutritional information that Cookie Do provides. So it's really handy. So I have added in my cheese. So now I'm going to chuck in an egg, and hopefully I don't put the eggshell in. There we go. I whisked one in my my mixture and didn't realize, and ended up having to pick it out for about 20 minutes because I was not wasting it. So now I'm going to pop this on for 30 seconds, and it's just going to, oh, I know one thing I've forgotten, and I've forgotten to grab it. Just a second. I need to grab baking powder. Sorry. And from the heat of the cheese as well, this baking powder activates by using wet ingredients, but also by heat as well. So it will help bubble up the recipe. So I'm putting 2 teaspoons of baking powder into this recipe here. And so we're going to pop this on 30 seconds. Oh, at speed 3.
Aleesha is making a recipe that's not found on Cookie Do, and she is very kindly going to be sharing this recipe with us. What I will do is I will pop it in the Thermo Cooking Life New Zealand page, and Aleesha will pop it on her Rolling with the Stones. So you'll definitely see it. You won't miss it. It'll be on our Facebook pages if you are following along. I've got a question. Yeah.
Yes. Oh, I said I'm also going to put it on the recipe community, because that's one of my go-getters steps. So I've got a few keto recipes I'm going to chuck up. So my goal tonight is to have that on there by midnight. I'm going to put it up. So I'll give the link for that as well.
When you put it up, when it's done, when you've finished it up, because you know what we talk about an accountability loop here. So when you put it up, will you send me a done with a tick?
I will do that, definitely. Cool. Okay, so this is, it looks like scrambled eggs at the moment, but my egg and my baking powder has mixed in with the different cheeses. I'm just going to move that cheese mozzarella off the blade a little bit. Okay, now I'm going to add in 80 grams of almond flour. Now I chop and change on what I do with my almonds. If blanched almonds or your whole almonds are on special at Binnin, I will get those. But then sometimes they have, I'll grab you a bag just to show you. Sometimes they have this reduced to clear, what do they call it? Almond meal, so the coarse one. Now you will not get it any cheaper than this. So for a kilo, it was $9.90. So I grabbed 3 bags of it. I don't do toilet paper in this house. I ultra buy this stuff. And it is a coarser meal, but I have a Thermomix and I can make it nice and fine. So that's what I've been using. So I'm going to chuck the almond flour in there. Now I'm going to use this, and this is a low carb person's best friend. However, it needs to be used in limited amount, and this is xanthan gum. So xanthan gum acts as a binder and sometimes even a thickener in quite a lot of foods, especially gluten-free foods, and it acts in place of gluten, so it holds things together. However, there are some people, once you start putting I'd say more than 15 grams, but I don't go anywhere near that. So we're only putting in half a teaspoon today, is that it can make some people a little bit gassy. Not me, but fingers crossed. But yeah, so some people are a bit against it, but in my cooking, I love it. So I'm going to be putting in half a teaspoon of xanthan gum. And again, that's just going to keep the wraps together nicely. And then I'm going to put in some salt. So I've got some lovely pepper in me, and if you haven't heard of pepper in me, check them out, because she does all these amazing salt blends. That this one's got like garlic and bay leaves and chili and stuff and salt in them. Really nice. So this is this recipe here. Cool. So now I'm going to mix that for another 30 seconds.
So Aleesha, someone was questioning about risotto. Their husband loves risotto, but they don't like the carb in that. Is there a suitable alternative?
Because risotto is rice, I mean, you could try it with cauliflower, because I know people are starting to use cauliflower. I've seen cauliflower made with sushi made with cauliflower. So they use the cauliflower rice in that. I don't know if it would give you the right consistency because of the starches in the risotto. Oh, sorry, in the rice that kind of leaches into the rest of the risotto. I don't know if you'd be able to. I mean, I will Google and I'll have a look and find out, and I'll let you know tomorrow. I'll just write that down. Risotto, and let's see. I haven't tried myself. Man, I do love a good risotto though with
wondering
rice.
if anybody on the group has tried making risotto using cauliflower rice and what their thoughts were. That would be nice.
You know what? My secret ingredient for low carb at the moment is not cauliflower. Everyone loves cauliflower. I find it a bit sulfuric, and I am beginning to like it since I've had my Thermomix. And the reason for that is because before I would think I'll go and buy cauliflower rice from the supermarket and frozen in the packet, or the stuff that you get in the produce department, like the pre-cut stuff, because I'd never be able to chop it that fine. And I just found it really sulfuric, and I don't know, it tasted like overboiled cabbage, and I was not a fan. So I went to a cooking experience where the host really wanted cauliflower rice. So I was like, all right, you know, I'm not going to be eating it. I'll give it a go. And we made the coconut chicken curry with the cauliflower rice. And what a difference it makes by blitzing your own cauliflower. I feel like fresh cauliflower done straight away and then steamed in the varoma is it gives it a much fresher flavor to it than using the packet or frozen variants. So I have actually started to like cauliflower more recently because of that. But the vegetable that I really like using is swede. So swede is a root vegetable, but it is on the lower end of the carbohydrate scale when it comes to root vegetables. So usually root vegetables are a no-go. So that one is pretty good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this on knead for 3 minutes. Whoops, where did I go? Sorry, guys. It's always hard when you're working back to front. What am I doing? Now I've lost it. Hang on. There we go.
Whilst Aleesha's doing that, and it's kneading for 3 minutes, I have found a cauliflower risotto with garlic prawns recipe, and it's a cookie dough recipe if anyone's interested. Comes from Low Carb Cooking in America. It's on the American side. So it's cauliflower risotto with brown butter prawns. It looks yum. But I also, and it's had 24 ratings with 4.4 stars. So that's quite a good judge of whether a recipe is doing well or not. So if you want to give that a try, give it a go, and we'd love to know your feedback. You have the whole week, guys, to try it out and let us know on Friday what you think.
Sounds amazing. Have we got any questions at all?
Any questions, guys? Pop them in the chat. We're happy to answer.
So around low carb, I suppose it makes sense to talk about what you eat when it comes to a low carb diet. And as the diet becomes a lot more popular, people are finding substitutes to make things like your breads and your wraps and stuff. But it doesn't need to be that complicated. So often you're wanting to look at your vegetables, so green leafy vegetables. So we eat a lot of spinach in our house because I'm not a fan of kale. So spinach, we do eat broccoli and cauliflower. They're at the kind of mid-level of low carb. What else do we have in regards to vegetables? Mushrooms. I've got a picky household, so I'm trying to work out what we. Carrots are kind of high end, so I will limit those. But things like potatoes and kumara and pumpkin, apart from spaghetti squash, if you've seen a big yellow squash, those you can have on low carb. So that's for vegetables. Fruits, unfortunately, are out for the most part, apart from some of your berries. You can have in limited quantities. So like blueberries, raspberries, and strawberries, and then there are some melons, but yeah, you've got to worry about the sugar content. And then your avocados. Avocados are amazing. Things like your olive oils are great. Trying through my head with things that you can have. Your nuts and seeds. So seeds are really, really good. I've just made this morning my own granola, made it out of coconut, toasted coconut, macadamias, almonds, some cinnamon, and then a whole heap of seeds. So I've got flax seeds. What else did I put in it? Sorry, I'm just trying to think here. Sunflower seeds, sesame seeds, and I bake them. I put some sugar-free maple syrup on them, some cinnamon, and then I bake them on a tray. And now they're these like amazing little clusters of yumminess. And I have that with plain yogurt that hasn't that has not been sweetened.
Is that what you made this morning? Yogurt. Can you show us?
Yes, sure. So, oh, please don't spill it, Aleesha. I'm very clumsy. Can you see all that? Oh, it smells divine. So it smells amazing. Like maple and cinnamon. Yeah. So I was going to buy some of this from the supermarket. I went down there this morning, and it was like for this amount, it was $20. And I looked at the back of the in the ingredients, and I was like, I've got all of this at home. Why am I buying it? So then came home and made it. And
so yeah, can you give us the ingredients? Can I write it in the chat for everyone?
Yes, I put it on my post on my I also have a low carb page that I've done since I started doing low carb, and I've got it written down on there. But it was looking at it: sesame seeds, pumpkin seeds, sunflower seeds, flax seeds, macadamias. What else have I put in it? Toasted coconut. And you need to make sure if you get toasted coconut, it's the unsweetened one, which is, I've got this one here, toasted coconut flakes, and I just get that from Countdown. Because some of them put sugar, a lot of sugar in their toasted coconut. What else have I put in there? I put the sugar-free maple syrup, which is the clean brand, this one here, in there. And then I put some cinnamon, and then there is some stevia drops. So later on in the week, I'm going to talk about different types of sugar sweeteners that you can get. So I've got this liquid sweetener that's got stevia. Sorry, it's a vanilla one in there. So I put a couple of drops of that, and then toasted it at about 70 degrees in the oven for 45 minutes. I just checked it halfway, and now, like, I won't eat it because no one needs to listen to me eating, but it's very crunchy and delicious. Okay, so I'm going to move my lovely Thermomix to the side. I've got my dough here, so it's mixed it all up. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put
sticky
this,
dough, isn't it? Really
it
sticky.
is quite a sticky dough, but that's all right. Once it you kind of get it into a ball, I'll show you. I'm just going to grab my Thermomat. It becomes quite easy to manage. Right, you'll see that. All right.
Friends, if you are hopping on our workshops or our virtual cooking experiences and you bringing two friends with you, let us know and let us have their names so that we can reward you for your for sharing the love by giving you some host rewards. And these dough mats, silicone dough mats, and the baking mats are host rewards that are available.
I use mine so many times a day. The only time I actually use baking paper these days is to put these these wraps inside a in the frying pan, because otherwise they get a bit sticky. Right. So it is quite a sticky dough, but it does get a bit better the more you play with it. So this is my dough. So I'm just going to wash my hands off and take my rings off, because I've just realised I'm going to get dough stuck in the grooves with my rings.
Is there any reason why you chose macadamia nuts as opposed to almond or cashews in your muesli?
Oh, yes. So cashews are actually quite a high carbohydrate nut, whereas macadamias, I did put almond meal. Sorry, I forgot. I will give, what I'll do is I will put that recipe, I'll get Michelle to send it, because it's not something, it's not something that I would, I put in my Thermomix, to be fair. I mean, you could dump it all and then put it on reverse stir, but I just, I was freeballing, chucking everything in. So, so I had put almond flour in it. I didn't have many almonds left over that weren't blitzed. So, and I had macadamias. Macadamias are low carb because I had it left over. Sorry, now I'm going through my fridge and showing everyone all the stuff. For Father's Day, I made my husband and then also my stepson's stepdad, he's also doing keto, some Rocky Road. So this is keto Rocky Road. And that's got almonds in it and macadamias. So I ran out of almonds.
Yeah, it's in the thermi.
Yes, so I melted my chocolate, put everything in, and then you just put it onto a tray and put it in the fridge. It is the easiest recipe
it has to be a Friday afternoon recipe for us on the group.
Okay, cool. I'll make some more.
Let's go into the weekend with Rocky Road in the fridge.
It'll probably be gone by then. So I probably need to make some more. So there's some sugar-free lollies you can buy. I'll talk about that after. From the supermarket. I think I've got some brand. Oh, here we go. It's called the Double D brand. So they do jubes and marshmallows is what I put in those. Right. Anyway, so I'm going to cut this dough and I'm going to make it into 4 wraps. So we'll do one. Put these aside. Now, I like, if you've got more than one mat, I like to line mine up. Oops. Oh, hang on. That's fine. Nope. I need to put my baking paper down, otherwise I'm never going to it's a lot harder when you're putting this in the pan, because we're going to dry fry this in the frying pan, to lift your lovely thermomats into the pan without trying to burn yourself. So paper's a lot smaller than the thermomat. So let's put that underneath. Right, grab out my lovely rolling pin. Who's got one of these artisan rolling pins from the mix shop? I had one of those other ones, the ones that have like stuck here, and I always get lines in my stuff. Drive me bonkers. And then my lovely stepson decided to use my rolling pin as a hammer, so I ended up with divots in it as well. So I'm rolling this one out to, let's go 20 centimeters. For this dough, I don't know if you have watched the dough workshop that we did the other week, and Mama Chen, our wonderful consultant who is magic in the kitchen with her magic dough, she called it. So she has her pizza dough that she calls, I think, was it magic dough she called it? Michelle, you know?
Now you've got me thinking. It wasn't magic dough. It was, oh, what does she call it? I forgot. Mighty dough.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kathy. You have been watching those, haven't you?
So the mighty dough. Why is this extra sticky? Now this is great. Doing it on a. Oh, come on. It's not liking me today. This isn't good. I've made this so many times and this has never happened. Always the way. So I use this as my mighty dough. So I made this originally as wraps, and then I did what, who was it? Shanaz said, and put some tandoori paste in it and did it when the rest of the family were having roti. This is really annoying. I don't know why this is doing this. Maybe it's too warm. And then what else did I do? I cooked it and then put it in, Pa cooked it and put it in lasagna. So it was our sheets of lasagna. I'm not really selling this very well. I swear this is the first time this, hang on. I'm going to try this again, guys, because this is very annoying. It's like fully stuck to my mat.
Isn't it typical? It will happen when we've got
I know
30 people watching.
Typical.
No stress. So there is a question about when your family, Holly's asked, do you find it time consuming to make keto meals for yourself and then other meals that the children eat, or do you include the bulk of what your kids are what you're eating into the meals that your kids are eating? How does it work?
It's a really good question. So I do a bit of both, to be fair. I'll put some more almond meal in this. So sometimes I will make meals for myself and my husband on our own, and then I'll do something for the kids. Otherwise, I
put the baking paper down.
Yeah, I'm just putting some more almond flour into this to make it a bit. I think maybe I didn't put enough almond flour in. Just a bit annoying. There we go. That's much better. I was like, oh. Yeah, so let me think. Because obviously I don't limit the carbohydrates for the kids because they're little, and then my stepson, he has had a very long journey with, he had unfortunately had cancer, and he's a very small boy, so he needs to have all the carbs he can get, to be fair. I will make, if I'm making cauliflower rice for us or broccoli rice, I will then make normal rice for them to go with like our curries and stuff. For tonight we're having wraps, so I have got these wraps here for myself and my husband, and then the boys will have flour plain wraps. So yeah, I kind of do a hybrid of both for us. Now let's try this again. Sorry guys. Right, I'm just going to shake this off. My goodness, how are we going for time? Oh, good thing aioli.
We've got another 10 minutes.
Sorry, aioli takes 5 seconds, 5 minutes. Right, let's do this again. Yeah, so most of the time I just try and hybrid the meals, but there are some things that do call for doing separate meals. At the moment, because I'm on maternity leave and also we're stuck inside, it doesn't bother me to be in the kitchen for a bit longer than usual. Yeah, right, let's see, this better work. Hey, there we go. Apart from it's a really bad shape, so I'm just going to cut off the edges because I'm a bit pedantic like that. Re-roll it so it's nice and shaped. So I'll make like a 1.5 batch of these, and I will make them bigger. So I make them the size of the 28 centimeters, and that will
with a batch of 1.5 and making them that big, how many are you looking at?
So I'll still do like 4 big, like there'll be big 4 to 6 big wraps, and I worked them out, there's about 2.6 grams of carbs per wrap. Now if you look at the supermarket, I'm not going to make this perfectly round just for the essence of time, and I just realized I need to put my pan on. That I forgot what I was going to say. Oh, the low carb wraps that are at the supermarket. When you're looking at foods, always make sure, even though it says keto or low carb on the front of the packet, check out what the back says, because quite often it's not low carb, it's lower carb, which, hey, it's going in the right direction if you're wanting to cut down on your carbohydrate intake. But if you were actually doing a low carb or keto, one of those wraps is like half of your daily intake for carbohydrates. So they're actually quite cheeky. I think in the last 5 years at least, the industry for like keto and low carb has just boomed. Like there's keto products for everything, whereas before it was quite hard to get stuff. And I think that can be said of any diet really that takes off. Right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to head over here. Hang on. I'll make a start on my aioli, and then I'll put this on just because I need that pan to be quite hot. And I'm going to dry fry them. So let's start with my aioli, if that's okay, guys. Right away. Right. So this aioli is the aioli, and I'll get, there's 2 aiolis. I think there's an American one, and what am I doing? My week aioli. So it's the one that has the bread. I should be lifting my Thermomix up like that, but it's that one there. There's a couple. And this one is really good. But using fresh garlic, for me personally, I find it quite bitey. And they don't cook the garlic in it, so it keeps that quite bitey taste. And I love garlic, but yeah, I love it cooked. So what I do is this recipe calls for 3 cloves of garlic and 250 mils of oil. So before I know I'm going to cook it, I get my 250 mils of oil, and I grab, I think I put about 8 cloves. I have way more garlic than I never have worries with vampires, because yeah, I eat a lot. So I've confit this garlic. I put about 8 cloves in there. And what I do is put the 250 mils of oil, and then put the garlic in, and I confit it for between an hour and 15 minutes to an hour and a half. I kind of do it at that hour and 15 minutes and check to see how soft. So if you can grab, I'll show you one of these garlic cloves and like mush it between your fingers, you know it's ready. And this is really good. So if you want to confit garlic, so an hour and 15 to an hour 30 at 95 degrees on reverse speed stir. So only stir, otherwise you'll end up blitzing it. And then if you don't want to use it in anything, you can just keep it in the fridge in the oil, and it will keep for quite a while. I don't know how long, but it's really delicious, and it smells the whole house up. It's so yummy. So I've got this
Would
here.
you use a whole bulb of garlic? No. How much in 250 grams of oil?
I do. I put 8 cloves on this. I suppose it's all really dependent on taste. So the recipe does, in this recipe, it does call for 3 cloves of garlic to 250 mils of oil. But when you're cooking it, the garlic does become a bit more mellow. And I really like that garlicky flavor without the bite. So I do put more in. And then if you're going to turn your confit garlic and the oil into aioli, which is what I'm going to do not make the mistake of going from confiting the garlic to making the aioli straight away, because hot oil and emulsifying does not work. And I found that out the hard way, which I did fix. So if it is too warm and you've found once you put your you've put your oil into the mixture, sorry, I'm just thinking something. You can get your butterfly whisk and put it in for about 30 seconds on speed 4 after you finish the recipe, and that will help thicken it up again. But when I first saw it, I was like, oh no, I've wasted all this garlic and oil. But yeah, I did fix it. But in general rule of thumb, use the cold oil. So I've got this is what was left over from the confit garlic, so I'm not wasting all this flavor, and I'm going to pop my bowl back on here and click start. So it will ask you to weigh out 250 mils of oil, which I've already got and set it aside. And then it says to put in your 8 cloves of garlic. So I'm popping that in here now. And then it's going to mix it up. Now this is very soft, so I think it says 3 seconds. I'm probably only going to need 1 to be fair, but let's go. Yeah, it's done. See, 1 second time. Right, I need another measuring, not measuring, I need another. Oh, and you can see like the blades have just done like it's smithereens because it's so soft and creamy once you confit it. And it's really good to put into like salads and put it with your roast potatoes. Yeah, it's delicious. Right. So go next. I've done that. Scrape down the bowl. So in that, I'm going to put 1 medium egg. I need to grab another egg. Another one. Has anyone tried confiting garlic at home before? Right. So next, a teaspoon of lemon juice. I've just got a fresh lemon here. I'm just going to plop what I think is a teaspoon in there.
Anyone tried making your own aioli at home or mayonnaise? If not, Janet has confit her garlic in the oven, not using her thermi. So, oh yes, and Kristen has confit garlic after your chat with her the other day.
Oh, nice! And did it turn out right?
Work.
Okay.
Donna says she loves the cook. Donna says she loves the cooked mayonnaise recipe on Cookie Doo.
Oh, no. I haven't tried that one yet.
I've tried that. It's really, really good.
Might be in my next
one.
And
I love that it's cooked.
Yes. Is this? Oh no, I suppose this one isn't cooked, is it? But to be fair, in our house, I think we go through nearly a jar of it a week. So it calls for mustard, but it's not really specific on the kind of mustard. So I use the Dijon mustard, and I find that quite delicious. I haven't tried American mustard when I did it with the bitey, like before I confit it, and I was I didn't know if it was the mustard or the garlic.
I don't think American mustard is good in aioli.
Probably not. Okay,
I've got the recipe here. I'm trying to, but my internet is so slow that it's been taking forever to. There we go. There's the recipe for the aioli that Aleesha's making.
Perfect. And so I've just put in a pinch of ground black pepper, and again I'm using my Fasti pepper and me man grind. This is called. So good. Okay. So.
Kristen said aioli. No, what was it? Was a big hit.
Oh yay! The confit garlic was. Okay, so now I'm going to start it, and this is the emulsifying step if you haven't made aioli or mayonnaise before. And so what it's going to do is I'm going to pour the oil slowly on the top of this the rim in here, and I'm going to leave the measuring cup in, and it's going to seep down through, hit the blades, and it's going to mix up with all the other ingredients that are currently sitting in here, looking like a mess at the moment. Right. So go next. Oh, sorry.
I find it so satisfying doing this part. So satisfying that the machine's doing all the work and there you're pouring, and you know that magic's happening beneath you.
I would never, ever have thought to make my own aioli before I was doing it. Like, just it never went through my head, not at all. So we used to buy the Heinz aioli. In fact, I think I've got some that I need to throw out because it's been in the bottom of my fridge. Just before the 30th of June 2021. So I need to throw that. I might empty that and put some more stuff in it. But this costs, I think, like between $4.50 and $6, depending on if it's on special, and that's what we used before. And I'd have to cost up how much it cost me to make this, because we use sunflower oil is what it's called for. But it's like an egg, a teaspoon of mustard, my garlic, which I think I spend for 6 bulbs of garlic is like $3. Like it's so cheap to make. And like I said, we've made it nearly since I started lockdown. This is like my 5th batch. Like, it's ridiculous, so much of it. And we have it in like our salads. I make these like really nice crackers with it on. We have it in our Caesar wraps. Like, yeah, it's really good. All right. Oh, see, it's done what I said it was going to do before. I don't know if it's because it was too warm. So it's gone a bit thingy. So hang on. Having a good day, am I? My goodness me.
It's the reality of life in the kitchen. We win some and we lose some, especially when we're doing
Lives
right, or recipes. I see Janet says she likes to just bung her oil into the bowl and does it on speed 10, and it works fine. So
does it?
Yeah, I haven't done it that way. I've always diligently poured it through the lid.
Yeah, me too. All right, so I'll put that on 25 seconds. While that's doing that, let's go over here to my hot pot. Oh, lovely. My battery might go flat on my iPad, so we want to do this nice and quick. I think, we start on.
I'm just trying to find you. Where are you?
Yeah, I'm just about to take that off. Start video. Can you see? And now it's just called Aleesha.
There we go. So there's Aleesha's pan on her stove.
Okay. Right. You can still hear me okay? Hot spotlighted. Would you like to join audio to speak? No. Can you hear me still okay?
Yep, we can hear you perfectly well.
Yep. Oh, cool.
I'm just reading the comments. There have been a few questions around making aioli using olive oil. Now, I've tried making aioli before with olive oil and it's or mayonnaise, and it was really horribly strong, the taste. It was.
If you extra virgin, I think it needs to be an oil that doesn't have a very strong taste to it. Then it would work all right. I really don't know what's going on with my aioli, but I do have one in the fridge here. So this is the last lot of aioli that I made, if you can see that. And it's super creamy and
it's
delicious.
Beautiful.
So yeah. So for these wraps, sorry, I need to stay on task. These wraps only take about a minute on each side, if that. Now, if you do them any longer, what will happen is they will taste delicious. My husband thinks that they taste like salada crackers. I made those. It made it right. I'm going to see if I can do this, guys. There we go.
Look at
so
you.
You can see that. You need to use a very non-stick pan to be able to cook these, because if they stick, then you're going to end up breaking them. But it really just takes
And it has to be
on each side.
on a dry pan?
Yeah, dry pan and very non-stick. So if you've got a pan that you use for everything that is not non-stick, please don't use it. You'll end up breaking all your wraps. So what I do is I just get my spatula and I just kind of dig around the sides just to lift it up a little bit. At least these have turned out perfectly, even if they're not perfectly circular. So what I do when I'm doing them as wraps or roti, I will do them this method. If I'm making this into crackers, so you can put some sesame seeds and stuff on top and bake them in the oven, you'll bake them until they're kind of this like light brown color, all can't see because my light brown color all over, because once it starts to brown too much, they will harden and you can't fold them over. They won't be as malleable. But they're all done. So if we come back over to my main screen now. So this is my wrap, and look how malleable they are. So in this,
It's amazing.
Yeah. And they taste delicious too. So you obviously don't need to put cheese in them because they actually don't taste that cheesy, to be fair, even though they've got cream cheese and mozzarella in them. But yeah, so I'll make these tonight with, I was going to put that chicken, I've got some chicken through here. I don't know what I've done with my aioli has not turned out very well. Good. Good work, Aleesha.
Is it because your oil was still a bit too warm, or what do you think?
Possibly. I mean, it had cooled down. I kept put my finger in it and it didn't feel too hot. No, I don't know. Unless I put too much lemon juice in it, because I just squeezed the lemon. But what I'll do is I will put it in the fridge and let it cool down, and then I might put it back on and whip it, because I don't like wasting food at all. So I'll show you. It's kind of gone a little bit watery. So I'll give that a go. Sorry, guys.
That's okay, but show us your other jar again that you made before. It looks so beautiful and creamy, and we'll finish with a nice close-up of that. And talking about that, I want to try and take a photo. Where's my?
So this is my jar of aioli, and so I made this one on Saturday, I think. Yeah, it's really delicious too. And so I'll be using that with our wraps. So we're having chicken and we're having chicken Caesar wraps for dinner tonight. And these will stay nice and malleable. You can fold them quite well. I love them. So long as you don't overcook them. And then if you do make them a lot browner, try them as crackers. I also did that too. I used the pizza cutter on one. I accidentally let go a bit too far and ended up using them as crackers. So yeah, my mighty dough is this.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing, and thank you so much for joining us, everyone, today. Like we said, the recipe is Aleesha's own recipe for the wraps, which look amazing, but we will be sharing that on the Facebook pages, and when we send through tips and hints at the end of the week, it'll be included in there. I do apologize. Your email is on its way to you with the tips and hints from last week. I had a little bit of a relaxing time, maybe too much of a relaxing time over the weekend, and so I didn't do any work. But we'll be sending that through to you maybe this afternoon, although it is now 5 o'clock, or early today, or early tomorrow. Lovely to see you. We hope to see you tomorrow when we are going to be cooking. And what are we cooking tomorrow? Let me tell you, it is
muffins and
breakfast muffins and rum balls. So look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Thanks, everyone.
Cool.
Take care.